Part conversation with GWS. So obviously we got to see him Friday night against Collingwood, and I didn't think it was the greatest game of footy.
Good when Nick got going in the second half.
Yeah, he was. His third quarter was off the charts. But if we look at the Giants at the moment, and we just mentioned, I'll get into the injury side of things shortly, but they do seem a little bit lost with how they're trying to play. And that's all that we're trying to sort of look at here. Yep. As I said, I know Giants supporters, your injury list is horrendous, but all we're doing is just assessing and analysing the performance that we're seeing right now. Go, Ken.
Do you, Horny, think they're trying to go too quick now?
I think from me, I think they're a little bit confused because I think they've had a brand for the last couple of years under Adam Kingsley, which has been really easy to identify and has challenged teams to the pointy end of the season. And I just wonder whether or not they're actually, initially the first couple of weeks, they've actually tried to pull it back a little bit and go, maybe we can't play that way for 120 minutes, which is why we've been done in a final off the back of having some big leads that, we might tire and we can't actually take the sting out of the game, and we need to learn how to do this because the first 2 weeks of the season, they only had 140 handballs in their first two games, 140 on average.
Last week looked ridiculous. Looked ridiculous the way they were throwing it around.
So 200 plus the last 2 weeks.
So is it just a straight overcompensation?
Well, maybe. And then you hear Adam Kingsley post-game, and I was really interested to hear this, that they're training up their connection piece, they're trying to implement a few things, and usually you don't see the end result for that for a few weeks. So
how's their handball meters? How are their handball meters going with number?
No, they're still high up, about 450 a game, which is third or fourth, most in the competition. So
and the last 2 weeks the same with the last two?
Yeah. So the last 2 weeks the same, despite having a lot of handballs. So they're not probably getting as much bang for buck as they can. And then you look at what they're trying to do from a set position play, and they've gone from round 0 being long and straight and trying to challenge Hawthorn to then the week after being the least aggressive to goal that we've seen under Adam Kingsley, to then round 2 being short and punchy, to then on the weekend being short and lateral. And I think that can be a large reason as to why their connection piece going inside 50 is the worst in the competition because there's no consistency at the moment with how they're actually trying to play. So that's the concern at the moment. But the one thing I just want to put on the agenda at the moment, and it might not come true, but I just want to put it on there, that they are doing a little bit right with how they're actually been able to get it inside 50. So they're getting it inside 50 almost 60 times a week. They have the worst injury list at the competition at the moment, and hopefully they get to the midway stage of the season and that starts to change. But they also, and I don't get too much into this, because a draw's a draw and who knows, but at the moment they also have the easiest draw in the competition for the remainder of the season. So getting back to the cash converters piece, if they can hold, and I don't know about yourself, Ken and Jared, but I have a lot of respect for what Adam Kingsley has been able to do over a long period of time with how they play. They challenge you. Their method is good. It gets them to finals and competing by playing a sustainable brand. If they can hold on and develop this consistency piece, and develop this consistency piece, they might be a team that can come with a rush in the back few months of the season.
Yeah, I think they've got to get the connection to Jesse Hogan a little bit, but he was stiff on the weekend. He got pushed and scragged and should have got 3 or 4 free kicks, but he didn't. So well done to the Pies. But right now, they're not hitting him up.
Yeah, no, I think they've got a really good list, but they're decimated by injury at the moment. Yeah. I just thought their weekend's game, the handball was a little bit everywhere and anywhere, and they were forced inside 50 wide and to one side of the ground a lot. And I'm with you, Jared. Jesse Hogan looks off.
Yep.
Yeah, he looks off a little bit. He looks like whether that foot or something's causing him problems, I don't know. I have no information about that, but he just looks a little bit off. And Stringer wasn't up to it either the other night, so they had an opportunity they could have won that game with a lot of injuries almost.
The Hogan magnet would be the number one concern, I reckon. I reckon Kieran, the way Kieran Briggs is going at the moment is a bit of an issue. But I reckon the Hogan magnet would be the major concern because so much of what they did in that 23, 24, 25 period revolved around what Jesse was doing.
Okay, Hoyne, let's fire up the machine. Who did the